I'm curious as to your guys' experience within the medical device industry. So, my first question is, and I'll probably like add on as well. Where did you work, and what did you work on during your time as an intern or a co-op?
Sounds good. I can get started on that. So I worked at Edwards Life Sciences last summer as an R&D intern. So Edwards is divided into business units. So I worked in the surgical business unit on heart valves. So that was really exciting to me. Not a space that I'd worked in previously. The summer before that, I'd worked at Yale as a research assistant. So again, like worlds apart. So this is my first time really in industry and corporate, really doing those like coffee chats, networking. That side of like a business side of events. So that was really interesting to me. I particularly worked in the surgical unit because they assigned us to a specific unit before we joined. And we actually had our selection. They came and they interviewed us, and we kind of went back and like interviewed them. We talked to people from different business units that were interested in us based on our resume. And based on that, my hiring manager, who ended up being my manager, liked the skills that I had to offer. I liked the role that he had to offer, and so we ended up um, pairing off essentially. And he was my manager for the summer. That was really exciting. I worked in Irvine. I had never been to Irvine at all before, so that was a lot of fun. I loved Irvine. I feel like everyone like hypes up New York and the Bay, but I like loved Irvine. It was so like it's close to San Diego, it's close to LA, and it has like the best beaches. And we like go to the beach after work, so that was so nice.
Awesome. Yeah. So for me, last spring, I did a co-op with Abbott. Similarly, Abbott is divided into different business units. So I was working in cardiac rhythm management and specifically in mechanical R&D. So my work involved a lot of like 3D modeling or CADing and just kind of helping them roll out a new device they are working on. And yeah, similarly, I kind of had to go through a interview process and we didn't have as much say, I would say. Like we were applying specifically for mechanical R&D, so I knew that was the space I was going to end up in, and then just kind of got assigned to a team and manager. And but yeah, I had a really great experience, and I was working in Silmar, which is really close, just a little bit north of Los Angeles.
So, like Ishaani, I worked in Irvine as well at Medtronic, neurovascular and their neurovascular portfolio. And so I worked with like the new product development R&D access team. And so I worked on neurovascular catheters, which help with minimally invasive surgeries. So going through your arteries essentially to reach the parts of your brain. And so I did a lot of like I guess mechanical R&D as well. A lot of test method development, and then some side projects as well. And then I think we might have glanced over this a bit, but do you guys have or want to share, I guess, your projects if you can? But
Yeah, I just realized you guys talked a little bit more about exactly what you did in your role. Similar to honestly both of you, I did a lot of modeling for again test methods. We were also working on a surgical heart valve. I feel like I can't say it, but it was a surgical heart valve essentially that we're implementing the heart surgically. So Edwards also has like non-surgical valves. So I worked on the surgical department, which is I think their oldest department. So it was kind of established. They had like a rhythm going, which is exciting because all the business units have a different kind of culture. And I love the culture of surgical, and it was just kind of everyone knew what they're doing. Great mentors. So my main project was obviously focused on testing of this new heart valve, kind of pushing to FDA validation. A couple side projects, as Dom mentioned, I focused on were like we had a welder come in, and so kind of working with that 3D modeling a better like stage to be able to utilize that welder for another heart valve. Another side project was helping another co-intern. So a big focus of Edwards is kind of that teamwork, working together. And so there's another intern on like the surgical business unit, and I worked with her as well on testing a different valve. So a lot of testing, kind of focus of my summer.
hmm. Greg, do you want to share more?
Yeah, we'll
Okay,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, so at CRM, they mainly work on well, cardiac rhythm management devices, and so there's a lot of pacemakers and also ICDs. And so my project, since it was for 6 months, I kind of had a lot of different projects, but I would say my main focus was on creating new test fixtures for a high voltage device they're coming out with. And so those test fixtures help them essentially test the new design for the device. And since I was mechanical R&D, mainly like structural tests. And some other side projects I had, I did like a patient contacting surface area report, basically figuring out like different materials that are in the device and how much patient contact they'll have for like biocompatibility testing. That was one project. Also, I worked with creating some packaging surrogates for kind of making sure the packaging for the new device would still work, or if not, like creating new packaging. So yeah.
Um, my next question is to describe your day-to-day experience as an intern or co-op. What did your day kind of look like? When did you start? When did you end? What kind of meetings did you have? Were you in the lab a lot? Things like that.
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like definitely every day did vary, depending
Mhm.
on kind of the meetings that I had, the testing that I was gonna do. But essentially, I would come in. We came in at 8, so we also they provided us housing, and a couple of roommates that also worked at Edwards. So me and my 3 roommates, we would usually carpool. So the 4 of us would leave the apartment around like 7:40. We'd get to work at around 8. We would come in. I think the morning we usually didn't have too many meetings, so we would kind of just like plan out our day, plan out if we had any testing for the day, book out any machines we'd have to test, kind of check the 3D print room to see if any of our prints had been completed the night before, been completed that morning, pick up those prints, get ready for any testing we had to do. We also, Edwards, I don't know if this is a shared culture, but like had a lot of like one-on-one coffee chat culture. So I would check my schedule. I usually have, I think over the summer, like I had at least one coffee chat a day. Like that, I really wanted to talk to everyone there. So I would probably have like a coffee chat in the morning, which we have like a little track. So it would be like a nice little walk time. We have like a track and like a volleyball court. So we would just like kind of walk around there. Um, for like a morning meeting, kind of talk to them, talk about their experiences, then come back usually. And then this morning, this chunk of the morning, probably anywhere between 9 and 12, we would run any testing we'd have to do for the day. So that was in the lab, as you mentioned. So each business unit kind of has its own lab. So or like each specific project or valve like kind of focuses on a specific area in a lab. So I was in the star lab. I would go there. I would run any testing that I had to do for the day, to collect my data, obviously, and then do the statistical analysis. That was largely my morning chunk. Then we would break for lunch. We'd have like a 30-minute lunch from 12 to 12:30. We'd have 1 hour buffer, which is why we come in at 8 and not 9. And then we would probably go back to work around 1. And then from 1 to 3, I feel like this was like a meeting heavy time. Like we would meet with like the VPs or the managers, kind of present what we were doing. Um, uh, I'd have bi-weeklies with my like direct manager, so I would kind of talk to him about project updates. He would kind of give me life advice too. He was like
Yeah.
such a good life coach. He was like, you should read this. He got me so many like life books, and they were honestly super helpful. Like changed my perspective on a lot of things. And then we would work on any side projects, as you mentioned. Probably this is when I would probably be at my computer for the longest amount of time, catting any new fixtures that I needed, adjustments on the fixtures. Like say we tested in the morning and we found out that there was an adjustment in a fixture that I had to make because it kind of the valve bent in the wrong way. I was like, okay, like well, how do I kind of correct for this bending, redesign the fixture, resubmit it in for the 3D print. Me and the 3D print guy were kind of close by the end of the summer. I was
Me
like,
too. Me too. Yeah.
hey, and he was like, again. I was like, yes. Um, and then at 3, Edwards has cookie time.
Oh.
So they have freshly baked chocolate chip cookies.
Freshly baked.
Yeah,
Oh
they're
my
like,
gosh.
amazing.
yeah, for 50 cents, I want to say. Like
You have
it's
to pay for it.
you do have to pay
That-
for it.
Damn.
But like if you go with like if you book, this was a life hack that all the interns figured out. If you booked like a coffee chat at 3, you're obviously gonna get a free cookie because
Right.
they would get you the cookie. We found out like 3 weeks from the end of summer that they also do ice cream sandwiches, but they're like on the DL like secret menu item. So we would probably have like a cookie. Like all the interns would kind of meet. We would like update each other on our day because everyone is in different business units, in different roles too. Like my roommates were in quality, business excellence, and manufacturing. So like all 4 of us were in different roles. So it was kind of exciting to catch up. Um, have our cookie time, and then from like 3 to 5 was usually like working on like a presentation that we'd have for the next week. Yeah, usually not testing. More meeting heavy towards the end of the day. And then our university relations would often have like events for us where we would kind of speak to like there would have individuals come in and kind of speak to us. So they had like a lot of the big like heads come in and they were like, oh, here was my experience, how did I get here? They'd have like other activities. So that was generally like a day in the life.
Mhm.
And we'd
Awesome.
head home at like 5:30.